really bad.
Whoa,
Whoa, whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. Oh, ba-da-da.
I got a new life. You would hardly recognize me. I'm so glad.
Na-na.
Madness, get the news.
Oh, I'm putting my teeth.
Hi, I'm Reese.
Hi, I'm Dea.
And we're
Literally dead.
dead.
Got a special episode for you today because we're doing not one but 2 movies. Woo! Are you excited?
It's a sequel.
Yeah. We're doing Dead Snow 1, 2009, and Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dead, 2014. And they are the first foreign language films. They're filmed in Norway on our podcast. And they're first zombie movies. And that's personally great for me because I love zombie movies.
Yeah.
I love them
You
so
do,
much.
don't you?
I love them so much.
Why, though?
Because, okay, so there's like really pretentious film school reasons, and then there's also like dumb gorehound reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So, firstly, pardon me, just had to get the burp out of the way. But firstly, the film school reasons is that zombie movies often have subtext to do with class and race and general social...
Reese? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. And they do a lot of like social commentary in them, especially if you look at stuff like Dawn of the Dead and Juan of the Dead and Train to Busan, which is my favourite. We have to do that sometime.
Yeah.
And my other reasons for liking them is because they're so dumb looking. Like, on the surface, they're dumb and fun and full of gore and just a good time, I think.
What's a zombie movie you hate?
A zombie movie I hate... Okay, so you have Quarantine, which is the remake of Rec, the Spanish one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Resident Evil. I don't like the movies Resident Evil. I haven't played the games. I've got the first one. I haven't played it, but I've seen the first Resident Evil movie and I didn't like it.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Is there a type of... Because zombies work in different ways, and we'll get into how the zombies in Dead Snow work. But before that, is there a type of zombie that you hate and think is stupid? Like, that's nonsense. Zombies shouldn't work that way.
So there's a movie called Officer Uprising, which is like zombie adjacent. I don't like it when it's just like a zombie adjacent thing. So they drink like an energy drink, and then they turn into like just like really angry in this movie. And I like the movie, like in general, I like the movie. But I just think they should have just made it full on zombies. Like, I'm happy for them to have like some semblance of a brain, but I don't want them to be like overly smart.
Yeah.
Like, they did it in Army of the Dead as well. They have, like, a leader zombie, and he, like, fully, like, talks in full sentences and, like, has, like, a really, like, not really complicated, but do you know what I mean? They have, like, weird hierarchies and stuff, and it's different if it's, like, the zombies in Dead Snow, which we'll get to in a bit.
Yeah.
But when it's, like, they're too human, I don't like it. They're too normal, I don't like it.
Yeah.
You know, they're not decayed enough in their brain. I don't like it, like, when they're like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not the biggest fan of zombies, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm really not.
That's fair enough.
But I watched both films
Good for you.
in 2 times view.
Okay.
Which I recommend. It's very funny. It's very funny.
It's also funny to watch them at normal speed, okay? What's your favourite, like...
Yeah, but the amount of times they're running away from the zombies and they're just like... It's very funny. Just like the Chuckle Brothers.
What's your favourite subgenre of horror?
I like a slasher.
Oh, I think we've discussed this before, yeah.
We have. I am a slasher girly. A slasher final girly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I love it. I don't know why. I just love a bit of like blood and gore. Oh, that made me a weird person. I like those bits where you just like, you know.
I see.
Because there's like a knife near an eyeball or
Yeah. Those are
cheese
fun.
grater on a car.
Oh
or
my
a shard of
God.
glass going through a throat and you're like...
You're just fully just referencing Evil Dead, aren't you? Cheese grater on a calf, that's Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, I guess. But the glass isn't just Evil Dead Rise.
No.
There's a couple
She
films.
eats the glass in Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
Spoiler for that one, but that movie was gory as shit.
It was.
I watched that in the cinema. On my own. I was like one of the only people there, and I was like sit there, and I put my hood up because I was wearing a hoodie because there was a chill at the back of my neck the whole time, and I didn't find that movie particularly scary, but because it was so gory and like the like special effects in that movie was so good, I was like, let me just like guard myself a little bit.
It's been good. I like cinema. I like
Cinema
films. Not enough people go to cinemas anymore. I love like a cinema horror experience.
Cinema horror experience are good. I think that there's a few really great ways to watch horror movies. Cinema's definitely one, but there's also fun time with friends, like group of people, and then also like on a sleepover on your friend's like laptop in the bed. Like that is also one of my like top ways of experiencing horror.
Yeah, you know that new ad they have at the beginning of like films out in the cinemas where it's like, this is not the way to watch film, that's not the way to watch film, and it's the family on their phones and on their laptops. I mean, don't get me wrong, you shouldn't be
not on your phone
pirating it, but watching on your laptop, like, it's cute, it's nostalgic.
Yeah, for us definitely nostalgic.
I think there's a charm to it. I mean, cinema's definitely always like the best way to go with any film.
Well, that's what they say. Like, there's loads of like older people who say that watching Alien on like a VHS tape on like a small box TV is the ultimate way to watch Alien because that's what it was filmed for. It wasn't filmed for like cinema properly, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it really depends on how you like view it. But personally, for Dead Snow and Dead Snow 2, I've watched it like 4 times because it's one of my like favorite zombie movies, like duos. I've watched it 4 times. I've watched it on my own. I've watched it with one person. I've watched it in a group of people, and I've watched it with my family. And I will say the ultimate time to watch it is with a group of your friends, like in a setting where everyone can laugh and joke with each other, because it's one of those kind of movies that is better with people, I think.
I can definitely see that. I think because it's a horror comedy, but I think it's one of those like comedy horrors, you know what I mean? It definitely leans more towards comedy, and I think the horror also comes from it being gruesome rather than scary. Yeah,
I would say that. There's not really a point in the movies where I'm like, ah! But now that we're starting to talk about Dead Snow, I'm going to give you the spoiler-free synopsis trademark. A group of Norwegian university students inadvertently catch the eye of the undead when they find Nazi gold in their holiday cabin.
Oh yeah, did we say it was about Nazis?
Yeah, it's a Nazi zombie film. If you're not really into that, don't watch it.
Yeah,
but it's also very stupid humour, very good.
And the Nazis are the bad people. Just to clarify.
I feel like that usually goes without saying.
I feel like there are some Nazi apologist films out there.
Oh yeah.
But that's not for today.
No, not for today. But now we've given you the spoiler-free stuff. I'm saying go and watch the movies and then come back, because I think they're great films and I think everyone should watch them because I love this. I just think it's so fun.
But if you don't want to watch it, just listen to us describe it.
Yeah.
Or do both.
Yes.
Okay.
So we start off with a cold open, as all great horror movies do. With
Merry Christmas, by the way.
Oh yeah, Merry Christmas.
It's Christmas season. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah. I just remember because the opening of the film actually starts with a Christmas song.
It starts with a Nutcracker song, the Sugar Plum Fairy. So I always associate that song with Christmas.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Where the woman running through the snow and she's being pursued, but we don't know by what or by who. Spoiler alert, it's a Nazi zombie.
Also, again, the chase looks really funny in 2 times speed.
It's very fun because you've got this woman screaming and running and she's like crying and stuff, and then you just got the like song that's like
and then it stops.
Yes.
And then it jump scares and then it continues again. It's very funny. It's very clownish.
It's very good.
Okay, so she getting chased and then she trips and she tumbles.
And she dies.
She tumbles. Let me tell you, she kept going and going. And then she dies.
Yeah, then she dies. And then it cuts to the people coming to the cabin. The group of people.
Yes, and we've got gender segregated cars because this is 2009.
Yes, 2009. To be fair, I
don't know if you know this, but in 2009, all cars were gender segregated.
To be fair, I really wouldn't want to sit in a car with like 3 men for like half an hour. Half an hour.
It was just so heterosexual to have the 3 women in the car and 3 men in the car. And it was so
Yes.
like, oh, a girl for each boy and a boy for each girl.
Yes. We've got, so in the boys' car, we've got Vergard, Martin, Roy, and Erland. Erland's a film student. Well, no, he's not a film student. They're all medical students. But he's a fucking film bro, and he constantly references films the whole movie. Roy is a pervert. Martin, he a little bitch. And Vergard, he's the kind of outdoorsy guy. And then in the girls' cabin, we've got Liv, who doesn't really have a personality. Hannah, who's a white woman with dreadlocks, and that's all you really need to know.
Yup. I mean, good for her.
And there's one more.
That's like, oh, okay.
Oh my god, there's one more and I've forgotten her name. Because I got distracted by her dreadlocks. Chris is the other girl's name. There we go. She doesn't really have a personality either. It's fine, it's fine.
So anyway, they're all driving in their cars.
Yeah.
And they're doing their little cute, Grease vibe, like, oh my god, the boys are boom, 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 and the girls are doom, doom, doom. And they're so excited for the...
The girls are kind of describing who's there because I think one of the girls is newer.
Mm-hmm.
So you see that Hannah's Martin's girlfriend, and Vergard has a girlfriend called Sarah, but she is not joining them in the cars. She is cross-country skiing over the mountains. Who could it be? Oh my god.
But yeah, so what happens is they essentially drive to a spot,
yeah,
and they leave the car, and then they have to go by foot from there on.
Except for Vergard, who goes on a jet ski?
A snowmobile.
A
snowmobile. So he leads the way because he knows the way.
Yeah.
So he gets on snowmobile and he says, follow the tracks. It's about, a few miles. And he starts riding. And what I think is interesting, and what I quite liked about this, is as he sort of like, bobs up and down through the snowy hills off to the cabin, we see that next to the tracks he's making are footprints in the snow, and it's just like foreshadowing that they're not alone. Like, who is that? Those are fresh footprints. Who's been to the cabin?
Who's gonna be there?
Ooh. 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 Ooh.
And then so
then they get to the cabin basically. They set a fire, etc., etc. They're all chilling.
And then I
drinking.
wrote one note because while they're walking to the cabin, I thought this was so funny at the time. I'm looking at it now, and this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever written. They're having a snowball fight, and I just wrote snowballs in brackets in balls. Someone gets hit in the balls with a snowball.
I don't even remember that.
But that's because I don't know. I don't know why I wrote this.
You're just focusing on the balls.
It was funny. It was a man in pain.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And they have fun time, having good times at the cabin.
Yeah, so they're like drinking stuff, and then
they have this fucking donut, and it sits on the snowmobile. So the snowmobile attaches the donut with string, and the snowmobile drives around, and you sit in the donut, and you get bobbed along. It looks so fun.
It did look fun.
I would do that.
But it also looked dangerous.
You gotta live life on the edge. Sit on those donuts.
Sit on the donuts. Is that your message to the world? Sit on the donuts.
Sit on the donuts.
Sit on the donuts.
Sit on the donuts.
If you can.
If you can.
Yeah, whenever you can. Go into the rain. Sorry.
They eat hot dogs.
There's something really weird happens in the cabin. So they have their like fun little montage of having a wonderful day. It's evening in the cabin, drinks, all the like mid and low lighting because
they play Twister and
big
someone's
light is
ass
too
goes
harsh.
in someone's face. That's what happens when they're doing the thing in the cabin at nighttime.
She's actually just made this up.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. This happens.
It does happen.
I just wrote ass face.
Ooh, you didn't see that coming.
No, my love.
You ever had an ass in your face while playing Twister?
No, but I've been the ass in someone's face while playing Twister, and I farted.
You're a terrible person.
It was an accident.
You're a villain.
It was an accident.
You're a menace.
It was
to
an
society.
accident.
Repent.
I was a child. Leave me alone. I was a child. Leave me alone.
Wow.
You're such a meanie. I hate you.
I'm not playing Twister forever. I better be so good at it now.
I would be awful at it now. Oh my god. And then And then Martin smothers Hannah.
Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So randomly, Martin's on like the couch with his girlfriend Hannah, right? And he's like, let me show you something.
Let me show you how they did anesthesia in the Middle Ages.
So she lays on her back and he puts
he sits on her.
Some fabric. Yeah, he sits on top of her like a sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah.
And he puts like a piece of fabric.
It's like a pillow. It's a throw pillow.
No, before that, he puts like a bandana over her face.
Oh, yeah, because she's wearing one.
And he like pulls it down over her face and then grabs a pillow and just shoves it onto her face and
she's
starts
struggling,
suffocating her. And this is like not addressed at all later on. This isn't like a point about his character. He just does it, and then she starts struggling like because she's dying, and then everyone else in the cabin is like,
what the fuck, dude?
What are you doing? And he just stops. It's like, oh, sorry, like lost myself in it. Okay,
can't you take a joke? Women are the same.
Let me show you this cool thing. It's called murder. Fucking weirdo.
Yes.
Oh. And then after that, so we have our first encounter with something creepy, which is when
a girl goes to the toilet.
One, what's her name?
Liv.
She goes to the toilet, and as she steps outside, she apparently sees a man in the woods in the distance.
Yeah.
And I say apparently because I replayed this clip like 8 times, and I couldn't see whatever the fuck she saw. The beat drops, it goes boom, and she goes ah, and I'm like, where is it? I paused it. Yeah. I couldn't find him. Am I the blind one?
You might be the blind one. We thought it was me this whole time. It might be you.
I couldn't see him, but I believed her. You know what? Because we believe women.
We do. That outhouse has no privacy, by the way. It's like a wooden shack in the middle of all of the snow. There is snow inside the outhouse. Mm-hmm. I think it might be too cold to poop. Okay, let's moving on.
In what way?
Like, do you ever get, like, if you, in the winter, whenever it's too cold, do you ever have trouble pooping?
No.
You don't?
Not winter specific.
But, like, if your butt's too cold.
No.
If your butt's too cold.
No, it's not making sense. Please, explain.
If your butt's too cold, do you not struggle to poop?
Why?
Because it just gets sucked back up because your whole body's, like, tense and freezing and shivering. No?
No. How are you pooping? I don't. I mean, sometimes, you sit down and the seat's a bit too cold and you're like, oh, this is not going to be a comfortable one. But,
yeah. But
it's not going back up inside me because it's cold.
Do you never get, like, shocked and you're like, ah! And then you jump and then, like, back up inside?
No. Is it going back up there to get warm? Is it just like, no, it's too cold?
No, because your muscles tense too fast. And it pulls back up.
I can understand the maths. I've just never had that happen. Okay, so I believe you. I believe women, but I just don't relate.
I can't see my notes. I'm crying.
So she said. So anyway, we find out. So that she runs back in and says, "There's a man in the woods. There's a man in the woods." Blah, blah. They end up finding out that the man in the woods is actually
an old guy.
Yeah,
a creepy old guy,
giving like ranger vibes.
I think
Park
he just.
Ranger.
To be honest, he wasn't wearing a uniform.
He wasn't, but he had like a torch and stuff.
He seemed like a very outdoorsy kind of person, and he comes in and he's like, "Can I have some coffee?"
Yeah, he sits down. Everyone like sits around him, and he tells a story like he's around a fireplace telling a mythical story, but it's just like history.
Yeah, he's the exposition dump of the movie.
And what does he say? Just give the context of the history.
He basically says that in the 1940s, they sent the Nazis. Hitler sent the Nazis up into this part of Norway to guard a specific battleship. And while they were up there, they kind of took all of the gold from the people, all the valuables of the gold, and anyone who like struggled against them, or you know what I mean, who kind of fought back, they would just get shot. So, but then when the war started turning on the Nazis, and they were losing, they went up into the mountains because the people kind of got more confidence and more fed up with their treatment. So they kind of pushed all of the Nazis up there in the mountains, and that's where they froze and died. Yeah.
Wow. I felt like I was in the film. I was submerged into that.
And then he says that organic coffee is shit. he's spitting facts.
Um,
And then he points. He's like, "Who made this?" And it was dreadlocks. And she lifts her hand, and I was like, "Of course it was. Of course it was."
Stop. I'm going to defend her. So I really liked when he was telling the story because it was this mixture of sort of like a history lesson, but it was that like campfire tale. I think what he was saying didn't allude to anything supernatural, but the way he was telling it, you're kind of like, oh, something's weird here. This isn't just a history lesson.
In the mountains.
Something's wrong here, like, you know?
Yes.
Which I think was like really, really fun way of sort of like alluding to that. He tells the story, shits on Dreadlock's coffee, and then he goes back to his tent.
Oh wait, no wait. There's something he asks for beer, and they get the beer, and it's in this really cool like underground storage bit, so that it stays cold. It's like under the house. And he like takes a beer as well as the coffee because the coffee was bad, and he puts out his cigarette in the coffee.
All it's good for.
Oh my god. The old man leaves, and then
Yeah, he leaves.
he leaves, but he doesn't cut. Because before we see the old man again, Vergard has a nightmare about Sarah, who's demonic, and it's foreshadowing to stuff that's already happened.
Yeah. And then...
It's hinting, that's the one. And then we see the old man in the tent.
Then we see the old man in the tent.
And I really like...
Does he always live in a tent? I'm so confused.
Also, if he knows there's danger, why is he up there in the mountains in a fucking tent? Wouldn't he stay in the cabin?
He was... How do you live in a tent? On a mountain? That doesn't make sense. And it was like a shitty tent. Like, it was like a... really bad, thin, not warm at all tent.
It looked really cold. But there was this really cool shot of like the light tent, like it looks like it's glowing almost because the light's inside it, and everything around is darkness, and I really like that shot.
I mean, it was a good shot.
It was a good shot.
I just don't agree with his life choices, you know?
He chose to live like that.
He chose who? Anyway, I mean, good for him. Anyway, we see the strange man in the woods in his tent. And he hears a noise in the middle of the night. He's woken. He, leaves his tent, seeing if there's anything there with his torch. Nothing there. He goes back in his tent. And then
the Nazi zombies come and kill him.
Yeah, one in particular, and it runs into his tent and then just, stabs him,
He
right?
slashes him in the throat, and then he manages to, run a bit, and then he gets punched to death. So he wasn't only slashed to the throat, they were then no, let me beat the shit out of you.
Which, again, looked really funny in 2x speed. So, just a little recommendation. The next morning...
So Vergard then goes in the morning to find Sarah because she's taken too long cross-country skiing. He gives the keys to the car to Martin, and then we have a really badass snowmobile montage. I think it's badass.
Yeah.
And then he finds the old man's body, who's been propped up in the tent.
And frozen.
Really fucking creepy.
And it was scary.
It was.
He looks through the gap of the tent,
Yeah.
and it's just that little slip of light that comes in,
Yeah.
just illuminating his cold, blue dead face. And that shit was creepy.
Yeah. He sees the dead body, and then he promptly fucks off. Vergard is like, I'm not dealing with this shit.
I mean, people die... in those kind of conditions all the time. So
Yeah, but throat slit. People get their throat slit on the mountain all the time.
He's trying to find his girlfriend. He's like, this ain't important. So he just leaves the dead man he just found and goes to look for his girlfriend because that's more important. Which, you know what goals? Green flag.
Pussy power. I don't know why you said that.
I don't know either.
And we cut back to the squad at the cabin.
Who were just chilling and vibing.
And we discover a fun thing about Martin. He's a medical student who doesn't like blood.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid. It never comes up again, by the way.
And he gets over it.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
You'll see.
And then in the beer storage, they find gold.
Yeah, so they go to get another beer and they find a small wooden box and obviously immediately open it and they find gold and other Nazi paraphernalia.
Yeah. And then they start drinking and my sister walked into the room at this point and they were like, why are they wearing those earrings?
And they all say they shouldn't go through the gold until what's his name comes back.
Yeah.
But they all take a piece anyway.
Martin and one of the other ones is wearing the earrings and they're getting drunk. And I'm like, did you even clean them?
So they're getting drunk on these beers and partying. And then,
Oh my god.
what's his name? Lil
Erland.
Horny goes to the bathroom to take a shit, as he says. Which, remember, gotta remind you, this is very much a Shrek outhouse, terrible potty situation. So he goes out there to take a shit. And then, what's her name?
Chris.
Decides to follow him out, all sneaky and smacky.
Yeah.
And cut to him in the outhouse, wiping his ass.
Yeah.
He's just wiped his
There's
ass.
no sink in there, by the way. He can't wash his hands.
He's definitely not done wiping his ass. He's just wiped, like, probably the first wipe.
Yeah.
And she just comes into the outhouse.
And jumps his bones.
She jumps on his lap and starts riding him. While he's, right after he's wiping.
And she's taking her clothes off too. This is a really
And
fucking
then,
cold outhouse.
I kid you not, she sucks on his ass wiping fingers.
Yes.
He even goes, as she goes to suck his fingers, he even goes, no. And it's too late. She's sucking shit off his fingers.
Crazy.
He's still got his trousers down. Probably, you know.
I think this might be worse than the they them sex scene.
Do you think when she jumped his bones that his shit shot back up inside him?
Yes, I do. Yes, I fucking do. Or maybe it came out when he finished.
She just starts riding him while he's probably still shitting. Anyway, they finish.
And then he comes back in.
With a smirk on his face, like,
And they're like, have you seen Chris? And he's like, yep.
Done more than see her. Then we cut back to Chris.
Taking a shit.
Now taking a shit. Since
she got finished.
No, she's taken that, post-sex piss. Which you should always do.
Post-sex piss. PSP.
Yeah, it's really good. Always PSP, okay? And while she's in the middle of PSPing, some little perverted zombie decides to start peeking through the little gaps in the store, which if you ever had that happen to you, is scary.
It's horrible.
And she starts freaking out thinking it's the guy that she just fucked. And it's not him.
So what are you doing, bro?
And then she's sat on this toilet in the outhouse, and the toilet is yanked up from under her.
Yeah, she falls into the pit of shit.
Yes, the zombie has somehow climbed into the pit of shit underneath this outhouse and ripped the toilet into the ground, and she's fallen down into it, which the way she was sucking his shit off his fingers, she probably liked. And somehow gashes her stomach or something.
Yeah.
Because then we see her climb out of the shit pit.
And she's walking to the cabin.
With some sort of wound on her stomach and covered in shit.
Yeah. And she screams.
And she screams.
And Hannah hears her. Or Dreadlocks hears her. Sorry. I got her name confused. No, her name is Hannah. Her name is Hannah.
Do you think she enjoyed it?
Do I think she enjoyed it? She looked like she did.
Because she was clearly into shit.
Or the shit pit. The shit pit. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Because while she was like riding him, like she was licking his shit off his fingers. And also she was smelling his shit. Because there's no flushing.
Maybe she probably would have enjoyed it more if she wasn't having her intestines ripped out.
Yeah.
I feel like.
But the thing is, because yeah.
Also, this is something so stupid and really small, right? But there's like a little shelf in the bathroom where the toilet paper is, and there's snow on the shelf, but the toilet paper is dry.
Yeah.
Explain.
See, I thought that he brought the toilet paper from the main cabin.
But then he puts it on the shelf. And we see it in the other scene where the girl takes a piss. The one before that.
Explain.
0 out of 10. Why is the toilet paper dry?
Because it's got to be like warm. Otherwise the shit will jump back inside of you. Won't it, Dea? Won't it?
I'm going to cut all these jokes out.
Okay, I'll just keep referencing it then so you have no episode left.
That's fine. That's fine. Because I'll do it when we do a movie that you really like. And then we have...
So, she gets died. Yep, she gets died. The zombie...
Hannah hears a scream.
She gets died. And then they hear a scream from inside. She's like, wait, shh, turn off the music. Do you hear that? Ah! And then... Oh, look at me give me a little immersive moment. But
you actor.
So they all go outside. They can't find her. The boys go out like manly men with a shotgun.
Yeah, and the girls stay inside.
Yeah, they can't find her. They go back inside, and then
oh my god! And I thought they would walk in on a Nazi zombie on the toilet.
They would if there was a toilet left, but it's been
That's true.
yanked into
they
the
gotta
ground.
shit in the woods now.
Which is any different?
Barely any different.
No, it really isn't. So they're back in the cabin. They're a bit confused. Where is she, etc. But they find the bag off of the original missing woman, right?
Sarah's bag, yes.
Yeah. Which is at the cabin, which means she did make it. Then why isn't she here?
Those were the footsteps. Oh my god.
Then we hear some noises from around the cabin, mainly from the window, and they walk up to the window, or one of the girls specifically does, and then sees the severed head.
Is it Sarah or one of the girls?
It's the girl that just died in the toilet.
Okay, yeah, so it's Chris.
Yeah, Chris. The severed head of Chris in the window, and she screams, and then the head is yoinked away by the zombie, which I thought was so funny.
It was.
Because zombies just playing little games. They were like, boo.
They were like, am I your friend? No, I'm not. It's a severed head.
Like, I love that. Like, because
They're
for the
feeling a
most
little
part,
silly.
they kill quite indiscriminately.
Yeah.
And quite just like, oh, we're just trying to kill. But he was just having a little fun.
She was having a silly, goofy moment.
He was just being a little silly goose. I loved it. And I loved that of him. You know, zombies have personalities. You know, he's just being a little cheeky.
You're making a little mischief.
Yeah, he's a real goof, you know.
So the blonde girl, her hair, she's looking out, she turns around and she's having this conversation.
Uh-huh.
And then the zombies smash their hands through the window, pull her head back. Everyone's trying to get the zombie off her. Hannah's the only one with half a brain cell. And she, like, uses an axe of some kind, maybe?
I remember this.
She uses a sharp object to cut Liv's hair so that the zombies don't get it.
Yes.
Having a little panicky moment. Erland's like, dude, I've seen this movie like 100 times. Don't get fucking bit. Right?
Yeah.
They find a shotgun on the wall. And they're figuring out, right, we've got some things, you know. And then,
is it when Poop Dick dies? What's his name?
Erland.
And then Erland.
He also turns his back to a window, and some other fucking zombies grab him and they rip his head apart, and his brain falls on the floor.
Like plop. Like it's like
a shit.
Yeah.
Ironically
Genuinely like a shit. But you see his head just get squashed, like, and just torn apart.
Really fun practical effects.
It was very gruesome. It was very fun.
Yeah.
And his brain plopping out like
It was
Jello was really good.
Yeah. And then Roy goes, he's like, we should have gone to Sunny Beach, like I said.
At least the weather would be nice.
No, you know what? I admire the pettiness of the, like, I told you so. We've all had those moments, but I feel very much vindicated, you know, when I hear other people have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you so.
It's like, we should have gone to Sunny Beach. There wouldn't have been Nazi zombies.
No, there would have been beach zombies and they would have been shirtless at least.
There would have been shark zombies.
Is that a thing?
It is. It is a thing. It is. There are multiple beach zombie movies, okay? There's Paradise Z. I haven't seen it yet. There's Zombie Tsunami, where they're in a tidal wave. There's Zombie Shark. And then, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen, like, Zom 100, or the movie, the anime, or the manga, but if you're not going to watch it, fine. There's a zombie shark, and then the human zombies eat its belly, right? And they go up from underneath it, and it form like, so they've got the human legs of the shark, but the shark, because it's a zombie, it's still alive. So it's the shark head and the human legs underneath it, and it's fucking running around places and shit.
Oh my god.
It's on Netflix, you should watch it.
What's it called again?
Zom 100.
Well, that's another recommendation for the viewer.
There you go.
Listener.
There's so many beach zombie movies. They're great.
What's like a hot zombie movie?
Well, there are 3 zombie stripper movies.
Oh, that's true.
There's zombie
I want
strippers.
some hunky men though.
There's zombie strippers. There's peelers, which is like weird and it's got oil spill and it's very gory. And then you have zombie versus strippers. No, strippers versus zombies or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember that.
A hunky man zombie movie.
Wow, this is where your knowledge ends. Hunky man.
I have to think, okay? There's so many, like... I've seen a lot of zombie movies, okay? Leave me alone.
Yeah, but I could probably ask you anything, you'd find me one. But just to ask you, you're like, attractive men.
Can I check my lists? Can I check my lists? Am I okay?
Are you cheating? Are you cheating?
I am cheating on the podcast, I'm sorry. Okay, there's a hunk in Train to Busan. He's like a DILF. Okay?
But is it a zombie?
No, he's not a
I
zombie.
want a hot zombie.
You want a hot zombie? Oh, for
Yes.
fuck's sake.
If it's human, then what's the point? We'll do this afterwards.
Wait, he turns into a zombie. Does that count? He was human and turns.
No. Is he hot as a zombie? It doesn't count.
Well, you don't really get to see that much of him as a zombie, but you do get to see him. He's the same person. He just gets milky white eyes. Okay, fine. Let me check.
I want to see like a wet t-shirt contest. Hunky zombie man.
Warm bodies?
Oh, gross. Not that twink.
You're a twink.
And?
Okay. I gotta. Come on. I feel like I'm on the spot. I'm really trying. Reanimator. Oh no, wait, that's an evil scientist.
But it's still a zombie, right? Oh, the scientist is the hot one.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of gay tension in that. So you get the scientist or as an assistant, who's also a scientist.
Let me see this.
I'm really like.
Girl, what is your type?
Hmm?
Do you think this is attractive?
I don't know. I'm asking you, mate.
No.
Okay then. Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Sheldon looking ass. Okay,
I'm
let's get
sorry.
back to the plot.
You're like. No.
Let's get back to the plot. Come on.
I tried.
You failed.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So then we cut to Snowmobile, and it's morning, and he stumbles across a cave.
Yeah, he falls in a hole.
Yeah.
And he gets knocked out.
He wakes up in this cave, and it's like a old like Nazi bunker.
Yeah.
And he goes around. I thought it was so cute because it was like decorated. Like the little zombies had put up like little Nazi flags. Really made it a home. Some like severed heads. It was real sweet.
I mean, I personally wouldn't decorate it like that, but you know, I can see why they would.
Well, you know, limited resources. They work with what they have.
I mean, they're very obsessed with one thing.
And then he stumbles across Sarah's severed head.
Sarah's severed head, and he also finds a machine gun.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Although I will say, when he finds Sarah's head, it's very funny because he sees it, and let me tell you, she's like, for the benefit of the viewer,
For the benefit of anyone watching on YouTube, that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
And
for the benefit of the listener, I basically look like, you know that like one emoji where it's like, hi.
I'll screenshot it and put it on Instagram.
Thank you. So she's like that severed head nobody, and he goes, Sarah? Like she's gonna respond. The bitch is dead. Sarah?
Me trying to talk to my mum in a different room. And then we cut back.
Sarah?
And then we come back to the people.
Sarah?
We don't come back to Sarah. Sarah's dead. We come back to the people at the cabin, and they decide that they're gonna split up. The boys are gonna distract the zombies, and the girls are gonna run for the car, and the boys are gonna run in a different direction.
Yeah, to distract them. So they bring out like pots and pans, start waggling. Well, can I just say, the zombies killed Ivan.
Erland.
Erland. I don't know anybody's name. The zombies killed Erland and then just basically left them alone. Because we cut back to them in this cabin and they've just like been sat in the corner until morning.
Yeah.
And the zombies killed no more. Like I don't
But then
understand.
as soon as they come out the cabin, they're there.
The zombies are there again, just waiting for them. Is it like vampire rules?
I reckon they just were like, do we want to go in there and pull them all out and kill them? And then everyone's going to be stood on top of each other and it's going to be so crowded. I think we should just wait.
Yeah, it's very true.
Like, you know.
Also, they want to long it out. It's been a while since they've had company.
Yeah. You know, they've got nothing to do.
So, yeah, they distract the zombies with their little pots and pans going... The girls run for the car. They run off.
Yeah. Ooh. And the guys, they can't go back into the cabin for some reason, right?
Mm-hmm. It cuts back to Snowmobile in the cave, who just found Sarah's head.
And then he leaves.
And as he's leaving, there is a zombie, and he starts to fight with the zombie. The zombie yeets him out of this cave. Absolutely tosses him.
Yes. He fucking throws him, and it's really funny because it looks like he like jumped on a trampoline and then thrown out the other side. It's very comical. It might even be a dummy, I think, that gets thrown out.
And he gets attacked by the zombie, and it's very fun because the zombie jumps on top of him and sort of like has the power position, and then he bites the zombie's cheek off, which I thought the role reversal of him biting the zombie.
It's like, how do you fucking like it?
It was like, yeah, it was really good. It was like one of the first like proper bites, and it was like human biting a zombie.
But then the zombie bites him back.
Mm-hmm.
On the neck. You can't amputate your head.
You can, but
you probably won't be up and about for very much longer.
No. Then we cut back to the two women.
Yeah.
And they're running together like, no, let's stay together forever. Like, oh, let's not split up. And then a zombie pops up. A very fashionable zombie. All the zombies are in really shitty, uniforms. Nazi uniforms. But this zombie, for some reason, has a real nice...
He's got white camo gear. He's snow camouflaged. He's in a puffer jacket. Oh, no, he's not. He's in a parka. Sorry.
So, yeah, this zombie pops up. Like, all the other zombies, shitty Nazi attire. And this one zombie pops up in this, like...
And there's two.
North Face puffer jacket. Fucking... Whatever. He looks good.
He probably stole that.
They scream and then they immediately run in opposite directions.
Yes.
And then we cut back to Snowmobile fighting the zombie. Okay, so what happens is, it's fighting two different zombies. One of the zombies gets impaled on a tree.
Yeah.
And is like completely stuck with his stomach hung open.
Yeah.
Then the other zombie comes to attack him and they both fall off the cliff. But they snag onto the intestines of the zombie stuck in the tree.
And they're fighting and they're stuck and they're bungee jumping with intestines.
Yeah. And then the zombie whose intestines are like, being bungee jumped is on the tree, like basically just like busting a nut. At least that's what it looks like. And then just bouncing on his intestines, which I thought was so unique. Such a fun little thing to think like bungee jump zombie intestine fight scene.
This movie does a lot with intestines. These movies love intestines more than any other organs. You think brains, when you think zombies, these guys probably bought like a surplus of intestines and they were like, we're going to fucking use all of them.
That's what it feels like. Because at one point I was like...
But even in the second movie they do it.
There's too many.
But I think it's always fun,
It is, but it's like, wow.
That's a lot of intestines.
It's so intestine focused, you almost think, like, you have to address this. Why do zombies like the intestines so much?
I don't know.
What is it about the intestines?
I have no idea.
Do they taste the best?
Well, they're German. They must have reminded them of sausages.
Very true.
I don't know.
Made me feel bad for them.
Don't feel bad for the Nazi zombies.
They're just homesick.
For Hitler!
I'm gonna cry.
Anyway!
You just miss their families.
Yeah. So Hannah, and it cuts back to Hannah and Liv fighting zombies. And Hannah dies. No, Hannah lives. Sorry. Liv dies. Which I think is very ironic, considering her name. But
how does she die?
Her intestines are getting pulled out by this zombie.
Oh yeah, she's been knocked out and she wakes up in the midst of her intestines
being pulled out and played
by
with.
two zombies who are just like, ooh.
But there's a grenade next to her and she sets it.
No, the grenade is on the waistband of the Nazi and she pulls it from the pin and they look down at her like, huh?
And then she fucking blows herself up.
Which was so badass.
Slay.
That was such a badass scene. She was like, I'm taking y'all out with me. But
she's like, I'm not going on my own. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then it cuts back to Hannah, who's run off in a different direction, and she's climbed up a tree. And there are these zombies, but underneath the tree, like they would be having a conversation if they could talk, if that makes sense.
It was very much given like a Scooby-Doo episode.
Yeah, but there's this crow because she's looking and there's like a nest next to her, and she's like.
She's up in this tree, looking down at the zombies who are trying to like find her, but they're like, looking around like, where did she go? Where did she go? But she's climbed up the tree.
And this crow won't fuck off.
No, it starts wah, 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 just in her face.
Where my eggs?
So she grabs the bird,
and she slams.
And she just starts thumping that bitch up against the wood. But obviously the bird's like, ah, ah, ah. And so the zombies look up like, the fuck is that? And catch her.
And no, they don't catch her.
Well, no, but they know where she is now.
Yeah, and she throws the bird at them. And they start climbing the tree. They start climbing. And so she jumps down. So she jumps onto the Nazi zombie. And she runs away, right? Why are you like this?
It's very funny.
Yeah. So she jumps off and she runs away. And then it cuts back to the guys who've managed to set the cabin on fire. Or maybe...
Yes.
And then while they're in the burning cabin, they're like, now let's call the police.
And they call the police and they say, there's zombies coming after us. And they're like, hang up on them instantly.
They're like,
for,
what the fuck is wrong with you?
stupid kids. So they try to call again, and then the Nokia dies.
Yeah.
Which he specifies as a Nokia.
Yeah. It's like fucking
So like,
Nokia.
what do we do? So then they decide, let's run into the shed.
Yeah.
Which,
It's like your Shaun of the Dead armament scene.
yeah, but I thought, so they go into the shed, but they go in almost backwards, and they close the door, and then they slowly turn around to the shed. And I so thought it was going to be like a Scooby-Doo moment where the zombie's just behind them, like, Arr? But no, surprisingly, there was no zombie in there.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of, like, garden tools.
Garden tools. And so one of them Roy gets a hammer and Martin gets a chainsaw. Chainsaw.
And they suit up. Very cool. Very
Yeah.
sick. Very cunt. Whew.
Is it cunt to kill people with chainsaws and hammers? Yes,
Yes,
it
it
is.
And then we cut back to Dreadlocks, who is on the edge of a cliff, and she's being chased by zombies, and she has a genius idea. Oh no, she's being chased by a North Face zombie.
Oh my god, yeah, because the
And
other
she
guy,
starts
he got fucked up.
Jumping on the edge of this cliff. She's right on the peak of this cliff, and she like jumps up and down to try and break it, and then the cliff breaks and she falls
Yeah.
to what we assume at the time is her death with this zombie.
Yeah. And then it cuts to Burgard, who has killed his attackers and has now decided to sew himself up with fishing wire, which is fucking brutal. But it kind of goes back to like the whole medical student background, because the old man who came to visit them, he kind of asked, when you have your intestines in your hand, what the fuck are you going to do then, you know?
Mm-hmm. And he's there, sew it back together, bitch.
He's sew it back up. Although he's sewing his neck up, not his leg.
Yeah, but it's the same message, you know?
Well, I mean, other people carry their intestines in their hands. And then he mounts the machine gun he found in the hole onto his fucking snowmobile, and he decides to go back to the cabin.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the two suited up warriors,
Yeah.
little Mr.
Roy and Martin.
Yep, have all their weapons, and then they get into sort of like an army fight
Yeah.
where a whole gaggle of zombies, like a lot, come at them, and they just start chainsawing, hammering.
It's a cool zombie killing montage, and it's made even better when freaking Vergard shows up on the snowmobile with the minigun, the machine gun, and he starts shooting everybody, and then he shoves a zombie's head into a motor, which is so fucking sick.
Move on. Move on. I did that.
And then Vergard dies. And then Vergard gets fucking murdered, and I'm really upset about this because I wanted him to be the final boy of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, he was the toughest.
He was the
Even
coolest.
after he found out his girlfriend was dead, he was super injured. He still kept fighting.
He was like, I have to go find my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then he dies, and I'm really upset about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry
He was, yeah.
for your loss. You know you're gonna make me cry. No, so he so he dies. He gets like torn, literally limb from limb, like a paper doll, by like 5 zombies that just like grab a leg each and an arm and a head, and they just.
Yes. But while this is going on, we cut back to Hannah. She has used her spit to get out of the buried snow.
Yeah, because she doesn't know which way is up.
Yeah.
So she spits and she sees it's dangling down, so she knows the other way's up.
Yeah, and it calls back to a previous part of the movie because they talked about this.
Yeah, one of the guys said, if you're ever trapped in the snow and you know which way to go,
I think it was Vergard.
You just gotta spit and
Gotta
see which
spit.
way it drops.
Don't swallow.
Dig in the other direction.
Yeah.
And so she does that. Like a badass. Come on, Dreadlocks.
And she runs, and then there's more zombie killing, and then Martin swings an axe, and it lands in Hannah because she has run up and finally found him.
I want to talk about this. Why would she approach someone, sneak up on them without saying a single word?
Yeah.
While they are in the middle of slaying everything around them. He is swinging this axe left and right to all these zombies, and she just sneaks up behind him and puts her hand on his shoulder, whatever she does. Why? There was no reason to be quiet. There's so much fucking noise going on. Like, it's not like the zombies were gonna hear. Like, she deserved to die.
Honestly, it was stupid on her part. It was really fucking dumb.
So yeah, he kills his own girlfriend accidentally, looks into her eyes, feels really bad, but he's like, rest in peace.
R.I.P. bitch. And then you get the leader of the zombies, Colonel Herzog. He rolls up with, I guess, people in command, I guess. And they kind of... He's in the middle and they're on the sides. And then he points and then they all, like, run. And he's, like, still strutting.
Slaying.
Okay.
But then little Mr. Medical Student gets bitten, right?
Yes, he does. More zombie killing, and then Martin gets bitten.
And then he's all like, you know what happens in the movies, right?
You know what happens in the movies? And then Roy says, wait, but can you still turn into a Nazi zombie if you're half Jewish? They have this debate, and then Martin fucking chainsaws his own arm off and then cauterizes the stump on petrol fire.
And he screams, but he did it quite well. I was so glad that they just like, you kind of really got through it. They didn't make a huge big deal, because they could have dragged it out for 5 minutes, but it was just like a 45 seconds of just...
Yeah. And then a zombie bites him in the balls.
I was like, well, you can amputate that too. And he decides not to.
He decides not to. Ironic. But I guess maybe keeping your balls is it's worth it. It's worth becoming a zombie if you keep your balls.
It is.
Okay. Well, I've learned something new today.
He's going to become the hunky zombie of my dreams.
You'd fuck Martin.
More than anyone else.
Really?
In this film.
Huh.
I mean, who would you pick? Oh, Snowmobile.
Snowmobile! Are you kidding
right.
me?
You know, he
Snowmobile!
was... Yeah, I agree.
He's so fit.
He was like Chad of this film, wasn't he?
He was such a Chad.
Okay, fair enough.
Sigma alpha male.
But he's not a zombie.
Yeah, but he was a Sigma alpha male.
A Sigma alpha male.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
So yeah, so then
arm gets bitten on dick.
after his dick gets bitten, another horde of zombies
No,
appear.
wait, I want to talk about this. They're having this, so they have the debate over whether he's going to turn into a zombie or not. He cuts his arm off, he cauterizes it, and he recovers a little, well, he kind of screams for a bit, and then a zombie bites him on the dick, and they kill that zombie, and this whole time, Herzog is just standing there watching them. He's just there, like, fully, like, you know that emoji of the standing man? That's what he's doing.
He just couldn't believe it.
He just watched, he's like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
And
he speaks the only word of the zombies only speak one word in this movie, and it's arise.
And then his horde comes.
An avalanche of fucking zombies. Everyone gets out of the snow. They were having a nap or whatever, and they come out and they start running towards them. And Martin and Roy, the only survivors, start running towards the car.
Yeah, in a very funny scene of them running like Chuckle Brothers down that hill, which again looks really good in 2x speed.
Yeah. And then Roy gets hit on the head by something. Was it a tree branch or was it like a...
Yeah, he just like bumps into a tree, right?
He bumps into a tree and then he fucking impales himself and he
impales himself on the tree, but it sort of just snags into his stomach.
Yeah, and then as he's running, the intestines kind of come out.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the lamest death of the whole film.
And he turns around and his intestines are trailed behind him.
Oh my god, just like the old man said. Yeah. That was the lamest death of the whole film, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Martin decides to circle back to the burned out cabin.
Because he figures out what they want. They want their Nazi gold.
They want the fucking gold. So he pulls out the box, he holds it in the air, he gives it to Herzog, and then he runs to the car.
And they leave him alone because they got their gold.
They think, they're like, yeah, that's right then. Fine.
So there he goes, one arm, bleeding balls.
Friends are all dead.
You know, who knows, miles, whatever, to the car.
Gets in the car. He has the keys that Burgard gave him, and he fumbles with the keys, and a coin falls out of them.
Yeah,
fucking
a Nazi coin.
A Nazi coin, and he looks out the window, and fucking Herzog's there, and he punches the window, and the movie ends.
Fade to black. Over.
Cut to black.
And that's the end of the film.
And that's the end of the film.
Overall thoughts.
Oh my god.
I would give the film a 2.5 out of 5.
2.5 out of 5?
It's not the most incredible film. It's not the most fascinating.
Did you have fun?
The charming and redeeming thing about the film is the interesting deaths. They really get some really interesting death scenes. And I think
Not
as
even a heart next to
you'll
it.
hear in the next episode when we go through the second film,
Yeah.
they really realize that was one of their like best features, and they really amp up the interesting, unique deaths in the second film. But in the first film, they were very unique. I mean, the bungee jumping intestines, you know, the
brain splat.
The brain splat being pulled into the toilet.
I was steaming.
It was steaming. There's just some really nice fighting scenes and some death scenes. But all in all, it was a very simple plot. It was very, go to... And I know it's a comedy, so it's sort of like parodying, you know, the simple horror plot. But it ended up just being a simple horror plot where it was just young people going to a cabin. Oh, they get warned by an old man. Old man dies.
The threat comes and kills them all.
The threat comes and kills them all. It was very simple. I think the second... Oh, no, let me not. I think that the second film may be an improvement, but we'll see in the next episode.
Whoa.
But the first film to me is very simple. It's got some really fun comedy and gags, but I wouldn't watch it... I wouldn't recommend anyone watch it alone.
No, watch it with friends.
It's definitely a party film.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what do you... And you love the film.
I do love the film. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. If it was purely my enjoyment, it would be like a 4. I'm not lying to you guys. I love this film. It's so fun. I wrote some overall thoughts. One of them was, let's just take a minute to remember that time a Nazi head got kicked like a football.
Yeah.
Taking a minute. Great fucking time.
Moment of silence.
No! He's a Nazi, no! Wish Vergard was a final boy. And that's my biggest criticism, because Vergard, love him. And then I thought the tone was a little confused. That's why I gave it a 3.5 instead of a 4. Because at some points it will try and play it straight, and other points it will be like, no, we're a campy, like, you know, thing.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it was just trying to find its feet. But the director, like, he's made a lot of films since, and he's really improved, and he's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's charming, and again, the comedy is good, but as far as it being a film and a plot, there's only so far that, like, gags and comedy can take you when the plot is quite simplistic.
Yeah, I think... Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but thank you for watching part 1 of our 2-part Dead Snow special!
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be posting episode 2 soon.
Yeah!
So check that out to find out what happens in the sequel.
Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dead.
I look forward to it. We've been Literally Dead. I'm Reese.
I'm Dea. Bye!